watching my favorite YouTube channel. I am Chill Monger. Thank you for watching my favorite YouTube channel. Like the video for my favorite YouTube channel. Inferno issue number 2, my favorite X-Men comic book going on right now. That goes without saying. You guys know how I feel about this. So when an X-Men comic pops up that's finally like worth reading, I'm interested. First sentence: see what I really am. Omega Sentinel says this, and it kind of has a little bit more meaning than just that. I want to know what's happening. That's something that we're going to be predicting as this book series goes on. What does she really mean? And I think that we'll get the answer to that question. I don't think there will be cliffhangers anymore by the time we get to issue number 4. So everything is going to be revealed. One thing that was revealed: Mystique was the one who was pretending to be Professor X, pretending to be Magneto. So if you predicted that, congratulations. That's something that was happening. I didn't predict that at all, but that's a thing. Mystique was actually the one who went to Mr. Sinister, and Sinister knew all along. Like, he's such a shit disturber. For how did he even get on the council? Maybe they had to put Mystique, guys who they don't want on the council, Shaw, Apocalypse, and Sinister. They had to, for their cooperation. Maybe that was it. Maybe it was like, oh, well, if we don't, we won't be united, so we'll have to offer them a position of power. And here they all come through those gates in issue, was it 5? Whichever issue it was when they were invited. It wasn't issue 2. Issue 2 of House of X was epic. This issue 2 of Inferno was not that epic, but it was an average good comic. Mystique is going to, there it is. That's her transforming right there. And we actually get the resurrection of Destiny. And she's slick too, very crafty. Hey, Hope, you haven't done this before, have you? Because she doesn't have the powers of Professor X, even though she looks like him. If you didn't know, if you're new to X-Men, that's how those powers work. Here, try on this helmet. And you can even keep the helmet. Congratulations. Destiny's back. Just like that. There's a 4-week time lapse from when she actually gets resurrected to her showing up on the council. So maybe something happened in those 4 weeks that we'll get an answer to, or maybe it was just all of those things, memories rushing through her head, or maybe she was using her powers to predict possible outcomes all this time so that everything goes the way it's supposed to go. We also know that Destiny is younger than she used to be. And I love how they don't actually say the exact age. It's how it's done. You don't need to actually give us numbers and dates. Just younger, that's enough for me. Because somewhere, somehow, some writer is going to contradict it later on. I hate stuff like birthday parties and birthday issues. That's what threw me off of Miles Morales Spider-Man. I ranted on that issue. It might have been 10, where like it's his birthday. And they had a balloon up, and there was a 1 and either a 7 or 8, because we don't know if he's 17, if he's 18, we don't know if he's 16, actually. Secret Wars could have changed everything, right? But basically, to rant on that comic again, his mom got pregnant, and within, maybe it was only 9 issues, the baby was born, and I'm like, well, obviously, never mind. That's a different comic. That's a different rant for a different time. In this comic, at the council, there has to be a vote. Professor X is voting to eliminate Mystique from the council. Yeah. Mystique goes, Destiny goes, I know how this is going to go. And he just kind of like, not listening, mute. He's not paying attention to anything Destiny is saying. Should have listened. Could have listened. You would have saved yourself the embarrassment. But the vote doesn't work because little Mystique was campaigning, showing up to Emma Frost. Emma Frost was the most important one. Emma Frost is so wicked. There is another mystery in here. Something is in a box that she wants. And for that, she didn't want to vote, but she did, in fact, vote yes. And Mystique is now on the council. Rather, Destiny. Destiny is now invited in the council. They don't even know how she got back. Because Nightcrawler, he doesn't know Destiny isn't allowed to come back. Like, there's so much secrecy in here, and I'm kind of happy that the Mystique kind of shit disturbed, because you could have been more honest with these people. What, you can't trust them, I guess, was the reason. We'll find out at the end. But you shouldn't have run everything in such secrecy. Actually, if you would have just been open and told everyone, they could probably understand. Or so I think it's like that, because I'm only on issue 2, and I don't even know what this grand secret is of why we can't have any future precogs. Well, we can't have those guys. So I'm in the dark, but it feels like you should have just let everyone know that Moira's lived 10 lives. Moira's a mutant. Because how did Emma react to it? Of course, Emma's a psychic, so it's going to be different. But when Emma gets her reaction, you look at her face. There was some great artwork, actually. This, her face. Sort of like House of X issue number 2, right? But another was the next page where Stefano Caselli goes hard. And you can see the 10 lives of Moira X. Stefano Caselli, good. The Invincible Iron Man's artist. He wrote Riri for her first 20 issues when she was on that. Riri Williams, the main character of Marvel Comics, he did that. So she realizes it, and she's fuming. She wants to know, how long did you guys know about this? How long? They don't say. What is it? What is the secret, though? She can't just be talking about Moira X, right? There's got to be more. She's like, don't touch me. I can't. Like, what is the secret? Is there a time bomb? Is there something? Is the mutant gene not the next step of evolution, and it jumped to the gun? Like, what's happening? It's probably could be what it is, couldn't it? Can you imagine that? If that would change everything. If they're not the next step of evolution, they are a mutation, but they are a mutation. I think you understand what I'm trying to say. And what if it is that way, that they bumped the line because some celestial did something that made time fast forward? Maybe see, there we go. Theory. Remember the fucking guys in the pod? No, they were when Sync, Wolverine. I called her Wolverine. Oh, when Sync and those guys went into the vault. Okay, if the vault people are actually gonna keep mutating and mutating until they turn into what mutants are, and we find out, oh shit, they're the thing that sparks mutants. Wouldn't that be interesting? Because that would show that just how many years away we actually are from the X gene. That would change things up. And that's a horrible theory. Might edit that out, or I might just not edit this video at all. Very likely I'm not going to edit this video at all. Up in space, it is Nimrod. And he is just being Nimrod. Omega Sentinel talks to him. Omega Sentinel says, here and now, I think, so you can look at me and see what I really am. We're at the next step. Omega Sentinel over here talking to Nimrod makes me feel like she is more Omega or more powerfuler than Nimrod is. And I can't believe that. I always thought of Nimrod as the top tier guy. But here's Omega Sentinel appearing to be a little bit stronger or have something that under her sleeve. Back to Moira, who's just fuming. She can't stand it. And we get a white page. This white page is called the Krakoa Network. The Krakoa Network makes it sound like Krakoa listens to everything happening in the world. In Krakoa, if there's somebody listening, we could have got that in pages, correct? How many panels? This might have been like 10 panels. Stefano Caselli would have had to have drawn 10 different times the face of somebody sitting down, changing their position, doing one of these. Save me the time. Here's just the words that happened. It was Mystique talking to Destiny. How many times did you die? I don't know. What kind of answer is that? I don't know. And she explains to her that they could have warped my mind, so I don't even know the truth. And this would have happened. The island lives, the island hears. This would have happened. This conversation, from my understanding, it's during that 4-week period. Valuable usage of a white page. The very next white page, not so important, but it's an X-Force mission log. Yo, the X-Force, bro. Remember what the X-Force was when we first started reading it? And we thought, well, it's great. And then I dropped off of it. And I feel like I missed nothing. I remember Colossus was with a woman. And that woman was Colossus's woman. And it was an answer to Kitty Pryde. None of that seems to matter here. Unless in issue 3, we have an understanding that Colossus's ongoings that were going on in X-Force or have a direct ramification to this. Unless that's the case, why do we need to read X-Force? Sorry to harp on the same thing, but there's consequential X-Men and there's inconsequential, directionless X-Men that Benjamin Percy's a part of, as well as the whole crew. Here we got Sage on the computer. She leaves. A new Sage enters, and that would be Mystique. What's going on in Paris? What is happening here? Because it looks like the Forge people have an access from Mars, or rather, they're up near the sun. They're orbiting the sun, and they can get closer to Earth. That's the minimal, I guess, advancement that they made. So it's coming. As Mystique is walking, she's transforming and changing into people. That wasn't really clear by the artwork. I would have preferred if half of her was the new person and half was the old person. Instead, the mark was sort of right over here. I'll show you the artwork. And I thought it could have been like a fashion statement. Which page was it? It's this guy where he's turning into from the yellow. You see how the divider is right where the armpit is? For me, that threw me off. It could have been more minor I was gonna say nitpick, minor criticism. It's more than a nitpick. And I talked about the Emma Frost part because I did not do this shit in order. The two of you were right. Moira says we're better off with someone we know we can trust. So who shows up for the vote? Little build up because everyone votes yes to it. Storm, Nightcrawler, I'm overjoyed to vote yes. 7-4. The winner is. Before we say that, I had fun because I didn't just turn the page. I thought about this. I looked at that head. I'm like, this could be Cyclops. Remember what that they did in issue number 1 where they were talking about how he had to leave the commander position? This is why. This got to be it, right? Because like, who else could you trust? Totally Cyclops. But wait, who do Magneto and Professor X trust? It's got to be somebody old, right? I wasn't thinking of Colossus and I wasn't thinking of Cyclops. And I go, who's like, I really cannot figure this out. Man, who the hell could this be? What were they building up to? It was just Colossus on this side of the page. On this side of the page, you see the Marvel code where you can redeem. And how cool is it that Jonathan Hickman doesn't do that where everyone else does it? Everyone else does it when there's 3 or 4 pages left. That's where they put that. He just keeps it right towards the end. Why? Because it's the reading experience. And it's only his book, and it's not just this comic. They've consistently, a lot of his X-Men books, I realize that they do that. That's just care. That's just a plus. I am better off because there's one less, page turn that I got to do while I'm reading this story. You could put it later on. You understand? Like, I guess there's a mandate that it had to be during the page, during the comic, so he made it the last page. But that's just a plus. You guys, Jonathan Hickman is the man. So it's Colossus. We are honored to have Colossus join the Quiet Council. In him, we can trust. One of his eyes is shining. I bet that has nothing to do with anything. But if it does, let's make a note of that. One of his eyes are shining. We can trust him. Emma, she's a variable. She lost her trust or loyalty. That's what she says. So this is an interesting place that we're in right now. A lot of advancements in where in positions for pieces. It's not a fighting comic book. The powers that Mystique uses aren't fighting, so there were superpowers that were used in here, so it's not a waste. I think it was good. It was longer than usual. It was a $6 comic book, but a lot of mysteries that I'm interested in, like what was in the box, what did Mystique gift to Emma, and maybe that is going to be a part of the variability, the uncertainty of where she decides to be at. They gave it to Emma rather than Jean. Is it because Emma knows she can get her hands dirty? Why Emma Frost? They also made it a psychic. That's why I compared her to Jean. Is it something that a psychic needs to be a part of, right? That's the question I'm asking also. Emma, that's that. Even though Colossus was the cliffhanger ending, it's the Emma factor to me that makes me go, ooh, this is the part of the story that makes me think something's up. I wrote a couple of notes. There was a word in here called addendum, which I had to Google. I don't even remember what the answer to that was, but I think Jonathan Hickman gets off by people Googling words like addendum. What the hell does that mean? You can actually see Google Trends and see how many people search for something. So on Wednesday, October the 27th, you'll see like a bump in the word addendum. If I was editing the video, I'd probably cut over to that and show you, but I can't. I could not edit the video, not for today. Because if I did edit the video, it wouldn't be up right now, which is what, noon Eastern time? So that's why. Okay. Chillmonger. Go check out my weekend series that I do. It was DC related this week where I asked 33 burning DC questions. Check that out. I'll be doing another one this Saturday, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I bid you adieu, goodbye, mwah, and good night. Bang.